It's not time to look at the headlines on the front pages of the Nigerian newspapers. And the first with me here is the Nigerian News Direct, with the headline, alleged $74.5 million debt. Presidency, Chinese firm in tug of ownership over presidential jets abroad. Ogun government flays seizure, says Zongshan's actions fraudulent and embarrassing leadership failure. Obi blasts federal government. Now, Lagos unveils digital portal for revenue payment. Troops recover 920,800 liters of stolen crude, 113 hostages. And then Nigeria's inflation falls for the first time in 19 months. Above the nameplate, federal government issues first $500 million local bond, says economy is improving. Federal government eyes China for Akwanga-Jos Bauchi Road funding. That's according to Umahi. Is next, and then we have MPOX. NCDC places Lagos, Abuja, others on red alert. The New Telegraph newspaper reporting NCDC places Lagos, Abuja, others on red alert as Nigeria records 39 cases. First case of more dangerous virus found outside Africa. Contract disputes. Chinese firm trying to fraudulently seize Nigeria's assets. That's according to presidency. Says federal government working with Ogun government to discharge Paris order. Seizure of presidential jets, international embarrassment. That's according to Peter Obi. Above the nameplate, crude oil, federal government unveils subcommittee on Naira transactions. For 13 years, aviation agencies operated without governing board. Inflation dropped by 0.8 percentage points, settled at 33.4% in July. On the bottom strip, student links chemicals in makeup to pregnancy complication. Interesting development. Blueprint is next. The Blueprint newspaper, presidency, OGSG, that's Ogun State government. Chinese company misled French courts on seized presidential jets. Insist Nigeria assets protected by diplomatic immunity. It's another P&ID case with fake investors. That's Ononuga. Ogun explains federal government moves to vacate order. CAS logs NAF pilots who logged 10,000 flight hours on Super Tucano. Tinubu's road infrastructure architectural master plan for economic growth. That's according to Umahi. And Africa must develop its resources to progress. Stop skills exodus. That's President Bola Tinubu. Police nabbed 2 for attempting to bury man alive in Kaduna. 227,494 persons affected by flood in 27 states, NEMA. On the bottom strip, Idris urges accurate, balanced reporting on Nigeria by international media. Next is First News newspaper. MPOX, the MPOX crisis looms. NCDC confirms 39 cases in Nigeria. Lagos, Ogun, Bayelsa, top hit list. States, and epidemic ravages Africa, 2,863 cases, 517 deaths. Federal government, Ogun government, move to recover seized presidential jets. Man gets $7 million after 48 years in jail for crime he didn't commit. Now, seizure of presidential jets, international embarrassment. Peter Obi blasts the government. And then Umahi, Tinubu's presidency's God's will to reset Nigeria. Senate denies 21 million naira salary allowance claim. We killed 147 terrorists in 1 week, says Nigerian military. The Punch newspaper is next. Ogun, FTZ deal. Chinese firm targets Nigeria assets in 8 countries. Zongshan eyes assets in UK, US, others. Presidency vows to protect jets. On the ear of the newspaper, court orders forfeiture of Emefiele's $2.4 million Lagos Delta assets. Harvest season reduces food inflation to 39.5%. Federal government eyes pension funds in $500 million bond issuance. Mpox, federal government tightens border surveillance as cases hit 39. Next is Platform Times, $130.6 million debt. How Ogun's 12-year deal with Chinese firm grounded Nigeria's presidential jets. Investigation. Gandu J complains as Tinubu reportedly tips him for ambassadorial appointment. International embarrassment. Peter Obi knocks Tinubu over seizure of presidential jets. Now, Kwara, 21 environmental offenders convicted, 12 others awaiting trial. We can't arrest all criminals at once, says police spokesman. ESN won't tolerate it. IPOB warns traditional rulers collecting money from herders. Please pay our pensions. Civil War veterans beg Tinubu. I wasn't given fair hearing. Senator stripped of title by Bauchi Emirate. And then Kano, Governor Yusuf's senior advisor, resigns. Defects from NPP to APC. The Daily Times is next. French court seizes Nigerian presidential jets over $74.5 million dispute. Federal government taking legal diplomatic steps to recover seized presidential aircraft, as according to AGF. Ogun government moves to vacate seizure order. NJC recommends Justice Kudirat Kekereekun as CJN. Don't mystify Tinubu, Clark tells Igbo appointees. EFCC seeks specialized courts to try cases of oil theft, vandalism. NEMA advises immediate relocation as flood hits 27 states, warns 362 vulnerable communities at high risk of flood in Kano. Tinubu urges African leaders to address exodus of skills, talents, says research and development must be encouraged with provision of appropriate rewards. Salient Times is next. Federal government accuses Chinese firm of fraudulent attempts to strip Nigeria's assets. Mpox, Bayelsa leads as NCDC confirms 39 cases in 33 states. That's according to the FCT. That's 33 states and the FCT. Nigeria's inflation rate drops to 33.4% in July. Nigeria Bureau of Statistics. Local government autonomy will boost universal education system. Shetima. Police arrest 2 for burying man alive in Kaduna. Alamide.
I begin here with this Nigeria. The big story here says federal government Ogun China's firm battle over seized aircraft. Chinese company using tactic to strip Nigeria's offshore assets, says presidency. Obi says seizure sign of leadership failure. That and many more on this Nigeria. Experts say 33.4% drop in inflation rate due to food moderation. And River State APC NWC insists a Kocha's caretaker committee remains until appellate court rules otherwise. 362 communities at high risk of flood. Neymar issues red alert to 27 states. Aviation workers threatened to embark on protest. That's on the federal government 50% IGR reductions. NJC recommends Kekereekun as Ariwola's successor. Some stories on the front page of this Nigeria to the Daily News Hub. There's quite an Aso Rock over presidential jet seized in France. As federal government makes frantic efforts to recover seized aircraft, tackles Chinese company, deploys AGF, NSA and other top officials to explore diplomatic legal means. Seizure of presidential jet, international embarrassment. Peter Obi knocks President Tinubu. 3 least expensive states you can live in Nigeria by the National Bureau of Statistics as inflation drops first time in 19 months. Another story here says Nigeria records 39 monkeypox 5,951 cholera cases. In Kaduna State, abducted female doctor still in captivity after 7 months. Some stories on the front page of the Daily News Hub. To the Daily Independent, the big story here is still on the siege of Nigeria's 3 presidential jets in France. The federal government has chosen steps to discharge inappropriate orders against the jet. China's firm plotting to strip Nigeria's offshore assets. That's according to the presidency. Firm misled French courts on presidential aircraft. Ogun government says Peter Obi says seizure is international embarrassment. Asks the federal government to come clean. NLC debunks police explanations about terrorists. Accuses federal government of meddling in union activities. Another story here says despite court order, APC NWC still recognizes Rivers Okocha-led CTC. Despite high food prices, Nigeria's inflation eases to 33.40% in July. And on the top corner, President Tinubu asks African leaders to address exodus of talents from the continent. Some stories on the front page of Daily Independent. To the Leadership Friday ahead of NEC, APC power brokers plan soft landing for Ganduje. Mole ambassadorial job for him, shop for new national chairman. APC governors to send 3 names to the president. North Central stakeholders tip Al-Makura. Attempted by Chinese firm to seize presidential jet fraudulent. That's according to the presidency. NLC alleges a plot to weaken labor unions. Doctors threaten strike over abducted colleague. 21 million naira for running cost, not salary allowances, Senate says. Some stories on the front page of the Leadership Friday to the nation rather. Lagos rolls out revenue boosting portal. $204 million Emefiele linked asset forfeited. President Tinubu seeks homegrown solution to African problems. Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea sign a pipeline agreement. Benefits of $500 million US domestic bond offer by Edron experts. Plan will halt capital flights, free up funds for capital projects, allow investment by dollar account holders. Offer opens on Monday. The federal government will challenge bid by Chinese firm to seize the nation's offshore assets. Export a court order obtained by predators in bad faith. Inflation drops first time in 19 months. Food prices also drop. Another story here says 774 councils got to 1.41 trillion naira from the Federation account in 6 months. Some stories on the front page of The Nation. To the Nature News, the drought threat, clerics unite, pray to God for rain. Maiduguri Dry Port will soon commence operation, according to the governor, Babagana Zulum. Minister adopts orphan elephant as member of his family. Interesting. Another story here says 1 million children die of lead poisoning annually. Olympics experience made me realize how strong I am. That's according to Philly. There's some stories on the front page of the Nature News. And finally on Sporting Life, Aston Villa preparing offer for Lukaku. Wolves target 40 and Arsenal open to selling Tomiyasu. Do not go to Chelsea. Primate Elijah Ayodele wants Osimhen, says it will kill his career. Chukwueze claims second AC Milan trophy with excellent win over Monza. Eguavon gets nod to lead Eagles as interim coach for AFCON qualifiers. Chelsea to demand at least 58.3 billion naira for Madueke. And finally, Bournemouth to drop interest in Katia. Some stories on the front page of the Sporting Life. Ibrahim.
Quite interesting stories, and we believe the Nigerians are actually up to date this morning. But let's quickly raise